Hey guys, my name is Nate and this is my brother Steven. Together we are Wingman Merch.
Thanks for checking out our video. We put these up about a month after we shoot them. If you'd like to catch any of these videos live, check out our Facebook page. The link is in the description.
What's up, guys? Sorry, we're getting off to kind of a weird start. We're using BeLive this week, which is a software we've heard a decent amount and we've actually had other interviews on. But new technology comes with new problems. So
we had something working with Blue Jeans, and then they changed something, and then it just kind of put a kibosh on the whole situation. So we're trying out something new. I have a question for you, though. Is this recorded or only going to live on Facebook?
It will live on Facebook. I believe it also gets recorded inside of BeLive. So we can check that. So I still have to have both chats up, which is one of the things that you're not supposed to do. But it's all good. So got my screen set up. We are using BeLive. I am back in, I keep wanting to say America because Alaska doesn't feel like America at all.
More Mother Russia.
Yeah. Back from the Antarctica or whatever, the North Pole. But yeah, I'm back in town. Well, not back in Florida fully yet. I'll be back in Florida in September, which I'm actually looking forward to because I kind of miss work, as strange as that might sound. So yeah, I'm back from Alaska. The trip was absolutely insane. I've learned a lot about myself, mostly that I am just terrible at planning things out and sticking to a plan. I did very little like pre-thought before. I was like, all right, let's hop in a car for a week and drive up to Alaska, which is 80 hours and 4,000 miles away. It was kind of on like my bucket list of things to do this year, and then I just found myself with like 3 weeks of time, and I was like, let's just do this now. So that's what ended up happening. So that's kind of why my like immediate disappearance. And Steven, I am so thankful for you just covering for me and being an awesome business partner as well as a brother, just making sure everything ran smoothly while I was gone. I had to do very little those 3 weeks, I'm not going to lie. So that was super nice. I feel super re-energized. And like I just said, like ready to get back to work. Just a million ideas of how we can be doing things better and grow this thing, you know, a way that we can contain it basically without feeling like we're all over the place still. So that was super nice. How have the last 3 weeks been for you? I know that people probably been hearing about your sync problems and everything else that you got going on.
It would have been a lot easier if you were here, but it is what it is. I feel like it was kind of payback for when I just had to dip and take care of family problems when Desi's mom's passed, and then we had other things going on. I had to go to Michigan, just kind of disconnect. So I felt like, it's just not payback, but just a way for me to pay him back for jumping in. Because I felt like it was a little harder on you because it was more like maybe your idea to start this the way that it is, but a lot more of my business was been thrown upon you to figure out. Vice versa, like it hasn't been that hard for me because I haven't really dealt with our business. I've dealt with the teaching side and this group and then my businesses, but as far as our merch business, I kind of had nothing to do with it because I don't really have contact with your art team, which I mean, for better or for worse, it made me very aware of the situation. Like I would not be able to, I've said it before too, like I wouldn't be able to do this business without you. You are kind of the glue that holds this business together. As far as teaching and other things and other opportunities, I can do all those things, but I enjoy this aspect of the business because I'm doing it with you and because it makes me really tune into the things that I'm good at and then allow me to like just completely disconnect for all the things that I don't want to do. The art, dealing with a lot of like small issues, the day-to-day stuff that I don't like to really be bothered with, and realizing that that really bogs me down in other aspects of my business and trying to give a lot more of those responsibilities away. So it was very eye-opening for me too. It would have been nice if I could have just done business things and not had like home and other problems. Yeah. But that's such as life. It just is what it is. It made me realize how far we've come and just how many difficult situations we've been through to where it was just another problem. Like it wasn't like, the world is end. It was just like, all right, okay, well, that's another problem. Oh, here's another problem. I got to deal with this. And then the only thing that really threw me was Thursday when everything was kind of like getting wrapped up. I was like immediately sick when it was like all the problems are done. Okay, your body is done. So that was like in bed for pretty much Thursday after that VIP call, Friday, Saturday, and then going to church Sunday, and then coming home and just like crashing. And then today, like feeling like I'm alive again, but still not having the energy is kind of disheartening. But again, I just go, hey, Nathaniel, can you do all of this? It feels good. I'm glad.
Yeah, no.
And I want to, another big part of this that I feel like we haven't touched on yet is to build this community so that other people inside the community can start working together. We have some pretty cool ideas of how to get that done, but again, more in future.
Thursday was the first day I had like time to like sit down and get things done. And then I called Steven, and like early in the morning, he's just like coughing up a lung, can't even get through a conversation. I was like, oh, geez, perfect. As soon as I'm ready to go, like he's out. But
I tagged you it perfectly. I was like, yeah got it.
So we're still getting back in the swing of things, and that's basically what the next like couple of weeks will be before CES. Basically, is just me trying to get everything back in order. That is kind of all over the place right this second. I would not have considered myself a road warrior before this last 3 weeks, but there were a string of 5 days that I drove 15 hours every day just to get back from Alaska. And so like, I feel like after doing that, I'm like, I can drive anywhere. That was basically like the width of the continent. So.
Yeah, I've been thoroughly against driving. I've been a very, like 5-10 minutes from the house. That's it. I'm tapping out. And then Gary came and we drove to Orlando, and I enjoyed that and just having another person in the car to talk business with. So if me and you do it, I think I'll really enjoy it. And then Desi, well, I'd say both of us bought a new car, a little convertible Miata. And I haven't driven stick in probably 5-6 years, and just banging through the gears on that thing. And I was like, oh yeah, now I understand what I want to do a road trip. This is why I haven't liked driving, because everything else has been automatic. We have a minivan, so it's like that's not fun to drive. So that's always like a chore to get in that thing and like haul around whatever we're hauling. The new sink, all this kitchen appliances and everything. That's not fun. And then Mom's car is just an old person car. Sorry, Mom. But have that little convertible Miata and just banging that around the last few days has been like, oh, I missed driving. I really do enjoy driving. It's just the cars that I've been driving. And I think in Michigan too, having all the people like and friends always having like either expensive car if you want to drive around, expensive car, or a fast little sporty car, or a motorcycle, or just always a friend had something that I could jump in and have some fun with. I was going to tell a story of running from the police, but I'll not do that.
Can leave that for one of the hangout calls.
Yeah.
So yeah, we are trying to do, I don't know if I'd call it a full out tour, Jenny, but we would like to do, I guess, a tour. At least I would next year, of where I can come meet people, whether it's in Cali or wherever that may be. Just because I have done it a few times so far, and I've talked about that here. It's really cool to meet people that you've helped online in person and just have an actual conversation over lunch. It's very rewarding for me to like know that these are actual people that we're talking about. Like, I know you guys are all real. I know the comments are just bots, but it's different when you meet someone face to face and talk to them and have that relationship. So I did really enjoy that. And like I said, I'm horrible at planning things. And like, I'm pretty good with like time management when it comes to work, but as far as like my own personal life, or it's like where I'll be when I'll be there, I'm just really bad at it. So I don't want to like promise anything. I don't want to tell anyone I'm going to be anywhere, even if I'm in Michigan. And I've had people be like, hey, we're only like an hour or two away from you. I'm just like, I would love to come see you, but I don't even know where I'm going to be tomorrow night. So it's hard to plan out that stuff. So
yeah, we'll be leaning on Jenny, because I think she has like a tight schedule, so she'll have to make it. Yeah, Jenny has plans. we'll just tag along to her plans and just schedule the thing out. But having an actual like meetup is definitely something that we want to do.
Right.
But as you're out driving around, just to start meeting more one-on-one or small groups, I think is something that we definitely want to continue that trend. I think that'll be something that we also do inside this community that I don't see a lot of other people doing, just because of how much you do like to travel around. I like flying around, and hopefully now with the car situation, I'll like road tripping a little bit. We'll see. This year will be the big, or next year will be the big tell if I actually like to do it. But if we can do that, then just doing like a cross country every once in a while, because we know some other people that do like bike across country and stuff like that. So it's very exciting if we can make that all line up. Like, okay, you're biking from here to here. We could all meet in, I don't know, Atlanta. I think everybody kind of goes through Atlanta at some point or something like that. California's on the hit list. I saw somebody else put that in the the comments.
Yeah, that's definitely on my hit list. I feel
Florida
like that's
meetup, we definitely need to do that.
We should do like a winter retreat in Florida because everyone wants to get out of winter anyways.
Q1 we had plans, but we might have to push those back because other things have come up now. But
yeah,
if not 2019, 2020, we'll definitely be doing a Q1 Wingman meetup somewhere in Florida.
Because Steven's not going anywhere in the winter.
Farther south, closer to the equator.
To bring this into actionable steps and to kind of bring that back as a theme, I don't know if Steven's been doing that. I haven't even caught up on his merch Mondays, to be completely honest with you guys. I need to do that still. But actionable steps are just the way to get things done. As I've been back from the road trip, they've been like what I'm holding on to every day. I'm just like, okay, I need to get these 3 things done. No excuses, like that has to happen. Otherwise, I'm like, oh, there's friends I haven't seen forever over here. There's this event going on. Like, I'm horrible. So setting small goals is your actionable step this week. And that has been what's allowing me to kind of get back in my groove. Again, I'm going to keep saying this last week because that's as long as I've been working for the last month. But
nice.
setting small goals every day, and I try to stick to 3. But even a little bit broader than just having like an actual plan that I'm going after. Like getting the art form back up is one that I can easily talk to you guys about because I've seen you guys asking for that, and that's then something that's like weighing on my mind. Like I have the art team. I just need to make sure all the files are getting sent to where they need to go. So having that back up was a goal that I set, even if I didn't exactly have a plan of how I was going to do that, like where I was going to sit down, what time I was going to allot to that, all of the little like details that I usually like to have planned out. This week, it was more of just like, okay, here's the goals that I need to go after without sitting down and planning them out in great detail. I just need to like start chugging away at this thing.
So more action each day than like setting everything up and making sure things are working perfectly.
Right. When there's, I don't know how to like find the balance of like when you have time to plan things out or when it's just like, okay, it's time to get down to like the nitty gritty and just do things. Maybe even without like, having that Zen moment before you just like jump into it like I like to have. But that's how I would explain this week. It's just like, okay, this needs to get done. That was like a goal that I had for this week. Like, let's just start hammering away and figuring out how to do that.
Yeah, so I guess I'll ask you, you said you didn't plan the Alaska trip out the way that you wanted to necessarily, but you still went to Alaska and accomplished that overarching goal. So you had a big goal, and then I remember you saying like during certain days, like, oh, I want to drive this many hours or this many miles. So I guess having you still had a plan. It might not have been the plan that you like sat down and planned out well, but you still had a plan or a goal, I guess. So I guess you're just the duality of the word. You might not have had a plan, but you had a goal, and then you broke down the goal into smaller pieces to potentially accomplish the overarching goal. I think maybe for the same week, I haven't talked to you much, so I know you have a few goals like getting the art form back up. Would you say you planned that out, or you did not plan it, but you had that goal and you just knew things had to get done to get it operational?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like the way we're using the words is a little bit different, but or not different, but just like I don't know. Having a goal and then making smaller goals, I guess in my head would be a plan. Now that we say it.
You didn't sit down and plan it out.
Right. No, like today, I didn't know that I was going to have this time like to sit down and do the work. So it's just like, here's the goal. Okay, now I'll sit down and just get it done without having like, the plan of, okay, here's step 1 through 8.
I guess I just wanted to get that across to the people. Even if you don't feel like you have a plan, but you have a goal that you want to accomplish, don't let the planning phase stop you from getting the overarching goal done. Take action. I guess that's why I like operating that way. I have a loose plan. I guess I don't just like seat in my pants, just run in a direction, but I have a very loose plan, and I just take massive action and get a lot of things done along my path of like, eventually I want to get close to here. Like I'd say Alaska. I know I want to go on that side of the country. I'll just start moving in that direction, then eventually be able to tighten it up to where I actually get up there. Instead of like, okay, I need to hit this road and then this route and then go through Canada. As I got closer, I'd be asking more people, like, how do I actually now get to my end result?
Yeah. So basically, the last 3 weeks I had to act like Steven and just kind of head north, like a general direction. If I like, I don't know, I could have taken easily 2 weeks to like plan out, all the national parks and all the roads that I was going to take, all the gas station I was going to stop at because they would have the cheapest gas and all the things like that. But yeah, it was just like, okay, I want to go, to Yellowstone. That was the first like landmark that I was just drove towards without really any planning behind it. And like you said, like it still got done. It just wasn't in the same fashion with like the same thought put into it, but it still got done either way. And I do think that's like a parallel to, a lot of what we're doing. It's just like, okay, sometimes you can sit down and think about this and really plan it out because you kind of know all the pieces that you're playing with. And then sometimes it's like, okay, you could get stuck here planning. Like if I took 2 weeks to plan out the trip and only had a week left, I would have not even been able to drive one way to Alaska by the time that was over. So it was like, okay, this is the amount of time I have. Let's just go and, like you do, just figure it along the way.
It's just that balance. And I guess we should really use that as the silver lining in everything that we're talking about. The balance of our business, the balance of you feeling like you need to make the plan versus just getting it done. There is a balance in everything. And I think that's why I'm so appreciative of working with you, because you do like to plan things out, and it does help along the process if we have a better plan. And I just like to take action. I'll stumble through it a first 100 times, and then eventually I'll figure it out to where, like, okay, I got this like clockwork. This is how it works because I have so much experience to go off of. But if we would have just a little bit of planning, we could have cut the 100 times of doing it down to like, say, 50 or even less by just planning it out a little bit better. And I think that's why I like having you do the day-to-day operations, because then I just go, okay, I want to get to Alaska. The planning and stuff out, I don't know. So I'm going to let you deal with all that. And then when we're ready to go, then let's just start moving. And I think that helps me take a lot off my mind, because instead of like constantly prepping and trying to figure out how to start a lot of things, I can just go, okay, here's idea, here's thought, give it to Nathaniel. When he's done with it, then I can get back on this idea. It makes it a lot easier for me. So again, working with other people is a huge benefit. Yeah. If you're not partnering up with people, we want to be able to help you and foster. We have ideas for that. We apologize we have nothing tonight, but hopefully in the next few weeks we'll have some stuff coming out to help you guys work together.
Yeah, and I think every video we do now, that's something we bring up. Like, it's hard for us not to talk about partnering because it's that crucial to our business and what we're doing.
It is a huge through line through our business. There's no, this doesn't happen without you. Like, there's a lot of other things that I'm doing that Jenny, that was just in here, like a lot of things that I'm doing would not be able to be happening without Jenny.
Right. And I think we harp on that so much because there was, I don't know, the first 8 years of us doing anything was like just Steven was doing what he was doing and I was doing what I was doing. Like, we would talk to each other about what was going on, and sometimes we had ideas for each other, or Steven like forced me to do something.
Yeah, more. Yeah, I think that was truly. It was no like real ideas. It was like, I need somebody. You are that body. You're doing this.
Right. So it wasn't like a true partnership that we talk about now. It wasn't, I don't know, like a give and take. It was mostly just Steven being an older brother. It was not a business partnership in any stretch of the imagination. So that's why, like, we're so happy with the partnership that me and Steven have and that we have with other people, that like it feels silly not to just keep telling you guys about how powerful this is, because none of this is possible without other people helping us. So that is what we got going on. But yeah, to get back to the action step, I guess it is more for the people like me who like to overplan sometimes without taking that first step into what you're doing. So setting smaller goals, like that's like the perfect like medium I've found the last couple of weeks as I'm traveling, because sometimes we set these super lofty goals, like this is where I want to be when I'm 30, or this is what I want my target to be, so it's have something to work towards every day. But when you set those smaller goals that are actually like obtainable for the week, without having this written out plan that I like to follow, that is very helpful for getting stuff done, and it is a good action step in itself. I'm just like, okay, this is goal, let's go after that. If we jump into questions, if you guys have questions art related, since I'm back now, or non-art related, Steven will happily answer those. I have one cool thing that I wanted to talk about that kind of came up this week. But if you guys are in the Facebook Live watching us, or if it's after, feel free to post them in the Facebook group. But the one question that I answered just this morning was from Deborah. She started working, or she had the opportunity, I should say, to start working with the Instagram influencer who contacted her about an account. I'm assuming that it had shirts and things on there, and they were just interested in promoting that stuff for her, which is an opportunity that has come up a few times for us as well. We mostly don't accept anything just because we've got so much going on. We are cautious with who we're working with and where our stuff is getting put now. But I just wanted to kind of speak on that from my point of view now that we've had some experience with it. Instagram is an awesome place. There's a lot of attention there. Basically, all of my friends who are in like the 20s and 30s all like spend hours every day on Instagram looking at stuff, buying stuff off of there. Finding out news from Instagram, like everything. There's a lot of eyeballs on Instagram. And there's an awesome market that I've learned to tap into to help with t-shirts, which is like the micro influencers. Because first of all, they're easy to communicate with because they're not flooded with people trying to get their attention and trying to shove stuff like on their, I almost said Facebook wall, but on their Instagram stories or whatever else they've got going on. And so if you can find micro influencers, which I could talk on that for a while, but it's basically just someone who has a smaller community that's very active. And it's fairly easy to like find, like when you see it to understand it. But you want to start going to their pictures and look at like when they're posted, how much they're posting these pictures, but also the feedback that they're getting on those posts. And also if they're commenting on those comments that they're getting. So if they're interacting with their people, kind of like how we do with you guys. Like we want you guys to ask us questions so we can interact with you as much as possible. So if you are looking at or having people contact you on Instagram, that's just a few ways to, decide for yourself if you want to work with them or not. The full post is on Facebook. I'll post the link for that in chat now. But I thought I dropped some good knowledge there. I hope Deborah got a lot out of it. And it was just an interesting conversation that knowledge that I haven't really shared before, although that is something that we've done and I have experience with. So that was fun to talk about something not directly merch related.
I know there's a lot of people talking about building communities, but if you don't want to spend the time, energy to build a community, tapping into other people's communities by hitting up influencers. I mean, we talked about it a little bit in the VIP group too. Gatekeepers, other people that have just a community, local or online, is a great way to start pushing products. We mostly talk about shirts, but there are other products that you can push to those local people. But yeah, don't be afraid. I think one of the things she said was they don't have 100,000 followers or something like that. I would not be afraid of that, even at 1,000 followers. I mean, we have a little less than 1,000 people in here. I would go after those people because all of those, as long as they are what Nathaniel said, if you can vet them and see that they're actually like trying to actively grow a community, then I would definitely work with those people because every group starts small and then starts to build. There seems like there's a few thresholds that you hit and then you like really rapidly grow at a certain point. So if you're able to work with that, what'd you call it? Micro influencer. Micro influencer. Before they turn into a major influencer, then you have a huge advantage over the competition that is then going to try to bend the ear of that person.
So I don't see any other questions in the Facebook group. But with all that being said, like if you guys have questions that aren't directly related to merch, but more stuff like this, like we do have knowledge on that as well. So it was fun to answer that question. Like I said, I get so many merch questions and my life is kind of consumed by merch. It's like, oh yeah, I remember I spent like, a year trying to figure out Instagram and working with, accounts where I was doing the artwork that they would post and like figuring out all the back end stuff for that and how to auto post and all of that. Like that is just a lot of knowledge that I have that didn't really go anywhere. So if I can share it with you guys and it can help you guys, like I'm more than willing to do that. Like we said, we want you guys to learn from our mistakes and our failures. So don't spend a year trying to learn Instagram. and not do anything with it. If you're not just like, you can ask me questions about Instagram and I'll try and help you guys out. But as we move forward, I saw someone that I wanted to shout out this week, and that's our adopted brother, I'll call him Chris Herbert. It's spelled very similar to our last name, and a few people ask me if he's part of our family.
Yeah, when you did that question about who's the hidden...
Yeah, I know a few people. Who's the hidden family member?
Yeah.
Yeah, people thought it was Chris. Sadly, he's not one of the brothers, but he did tear up this week. So congratulations, Chris. Hopefully that hard work is starting to energize you now as you're seeing some success come from it. And then you'll just keep chugging along. Double down on what's working for sure. Look at how many ever shirts that you've sold. See like the trends inside of that and try to double down off of those niches or whatever keywords are using inside of there. Would be my suggestion for what to do now that you have a few more slots to play with. So that is our shout out for the week. That was the one that I had written down. And then coming up this week for the Wednesday video, I'm going to sit down and actually do a proper video on what the art form is. I feel like I've talked about that like a ton in the beginning, but as you guys know, videos are everywhere and it's hard to like track down everything. So I'm going to sit down and explain what the art form is and how to use it. I know I haven't done that where I've like screen shared, okay, this is how I want you guys to fill it in. It's been a goal. It's been on my to-do list for quite a while. So I'm going to do that this Wednesday since I'm back in town and kind of giving the life form a new life. Did I say the life form? The art form. Yeah, giving the art form a new life now that it's back. So I'll sit down and show you guys how I use it, how I would suggest you use it, and also why it's here and why I don't like. We're not trying to make this like a professional thing. Like this is just something I want to help people inside of this group to eliminate some more, or to eliminate an excuse that you could have of, you know, I'm not an artist. I don't want to do art. I just want to hire someone to do it. Here's a very competitively priced way to get artwork done to help you guys out. So that video will be coming Wednesday. Anything else you've got coming up this week that you want to talk about, Steve?
I got a lot of work to do. I have a lot of videos to edit. I have stuff that's been backing up this week dealing with this sync. I just appreciate this group. Yeah, I want to find more ways to... The video that we did when you were outside the hospital, I believe, and then I was just like on the kitchen floor, I want to find more ways to do that. So if people watch that video and appreciate it, please like it or comment or something so that we can see if that's the kind of stuff that you guys like in this group. Nathaniel's been shooting some videos as he's been out traveling, and I would love to be able to bring that into this group and just have like a behind the scenes vlog, whatever you want to call it, of us and our business. Because I mean, I feel like I'm just a broken record at this point. We are restructuring. We are constantly restructuring. But I mean, as you grow your business, you're constantly fixing additional problems and moving in other directions. We just are constantly growing at this thing bigger. So every time we feel like, okay, here's the plan now, it changes, and then we have to restructure what we're doing. We feel like we have a better way of doing it now. Nathaniel's going to take over all the VAs and handle the day-to-day operation of our business, and then I'll be able to break down more of like the teaching and where we want to go and how we're going to structure that and set it up, and then again just be able to dump things onto Nathaniel, and then when they're ready, then we can both move forward on them. Hopefully that's the idea moving forward. But I would love a way to capture that process so that other people can say, oh, this is where they were at, this is kind of how they started, and then it was a mess, and then they kind of eventually figured it out, and then it broke, and then they fixed it, and then I think showing that process is something that we should be sharing, because I feel like we've gotten really good at maintaining and growing businesses, and I don't have a good way to like break it down. But if we're doing those daily videos or weekly videos or whatever, then you can kind of see the process behind it and then go, oh, I can grab knowledge from this. This is where I'm at in this business. Oh, I want to hire a VA. They don't have true training on it, but at least this is their process of how they did it. Because people are even reaching out to me like, how do I train a VA? And I was like, the way I gathered my VAs are completely different than I would say anybody else should. My wife's cousin offered to help. She was in the Philippines, so we have Filipino VAs. And she told some other people, it kind of permeated through that. And they have really honed in and learned way more than I was able to teach them. I had a crazy I mean, if anybody's ever seen any of my Excel spreadsheets, it was just like A to Z,
Nice.
1 to 1,000 of all data points, and then like showing them that, and then going, okay, just fill in A, just fill in B, and then by the time they hit like C, they're like, oh, this is horrible. Why don't you do it this way? Why don't you do like this? And then because they were way better at that. They were also entrepreneurs. They did some data entry and then just took it to a whole nother level. So I can't really teach how to hire VAs. I mean, I guess I can teach on how to like train the VAs, but the hiring process is not something I'm good at. But Nathaniel has a lot more
Experience.
time behind the wheel.
Yeah.
A lot more experience with that. So I feel like we should be able to teach a course on that, but we just have so many other things that we want to make sure people have the foundation for first. And we do want to rework the pre-flight, and so we have a process for all that stuff. So it will be coming in time, but I feel like the behind the scenes is another way to kind of see a little more advanced. If you just are fiending for some other more advanced tactics, then this is a way to hopefully help you guys.
Yeah.
Time will tell.
And, I was talking with some of the VIP group last Thursday about doing some more visual aids, because I'm a very visual learner, so I like hate talking about stuff that I can't wrap my head around, and having an image in front of me helps me do that. So I'm working on how to like visually explain like how we kind of see this journey that is like, you know, inside of merch and then further beyond that as well. And as we create this, are we calling it, do we say pre-flight 2.0? As we're creating this like next bundle of information.
Sure. I'm sure we're going to call it something else, but that's a perfect stand-in.
Right. As we're creating like all this content that we want to push out to you guys, like we'll try to help you wrap your heads around like what is going on, like why are we, you know, talking so much about this and also talking about the future so much, and why we're like holding some information back because we don't want to overwhelm anyone, all of that. So I'm doing my best to create like visual aids that will help you guys.
It'll help
for
me
especially.
Yeah. When I go, okay, niche down this far, and then when you're here, then you can niche back up. Like I need a word to describe that whole process, but if I just had a visual aid to go, okay, yeah, here's
sure.
cat mom, da 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 da. Now this is the level I feel like I can compete at, but ultimately I want to not niche up to cat shirt because that's way too competitive, but cat moms for a certain kind of cat. This is my target, but I can't start there because it's too competitive. How do I now build a ladder to get back up there?
Right. All right. We're over 30 minutes. We're almost at 40 minutes. We're trying to keep these to 30 minutes. I need to get better at keeping track of time. But thank you guys so much for welcoming back with a nice big warm welcome. I'm excited to be here, excited to get some things going again. The art form, like I said, I'll just mention it again, is back live. So if you guys want to get artwork done for $10, that is available in the pin post. If you have any questions, please message me. And yeah, hope you guys have a great week.